Rasmussen has a new poll out on marijuana legalization. Now, Rasmussen, you know, is a conservative polling website, so probably against legalizing marijuana, the way they probably framed the question. Instead of, wrong again, Bob, 47 to 42, saying legalize it. I'm not sure they said it that way, but American people now in favor of legalizing. Now, this is the second poll. Gallup poll also had 50% for the first time ever saying legalize it. More people clearly saying that they're in that camp as opposed to keeping it illegal. And, you know, it has gone up 14% since 2006 in the Gallup poll for people saying legalize it, because everybody's sick of it. You know, they look at it, it's not working, we're never going to win the war on drugs. The war on drugs has only gotten more and more violent. 36,000 deaths alone in Mexico since Calderon, you know, went along with Bush and, you know, amped up the war on drugs. There's no end in sight for this thing. And everybody gets it, man. Marijuana is also not that dangerous. The government is making it up. Literally, we've shown you story after story. Richard Nixon commissions a report. How safe is marijuana? The report comes back. Fairly safe. He takes it, rips it up, and throws it in the garbage. We find out decades later. And then he comes out and says, anyway, oh, very, very unsafe. Oh, my God, marijuana is so dangerous. It's not true. And so many people in America and across the world have tried it. They know it's not true. And they know we're never going to win the war on drugs. That's so stupid. The whole concept is stupid. And everybody is now understanding it's just like the prohibition on alcohol. All it did was create more and more gangsters. At the time, it was Al Capone, Bugsy Siegel, etc. Now we've got the drug cartels, etc. So meanwhile, what are we doing? There's a Summit of the Americas coming up next month. And President Obama is going to go down there and appeal to the leaders of the South American countries to double down on the war on drugs, to make sure that they use more private contractors to learn the lessons that we learned while we were fighting al-Qaeda. How do I know that? Because the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff actually went on a tour of South America, and he's already pushing that message, and he's saying President Obama is going to come and double down on that message next month. And he's saying, look, we learned a lot of lessons in how to track, you know, terrorists. Yeah, I know, we're doing great in Afghanistan. So now he wants to take those lessons and have the South American countries apply it to drug dealers. And he says, well, and we don't know, man. If they can smuggle in drugs through these paths, terrorists might be able to smuggle in other paths as well. Oh my God, we've got to combine the war on terror with the war on drugs, because both are going so well. And that's what we've got to do in South America. Meanwhile, reporting is that South American leaders are behind the scenes asking the president, hey, can you at least sit down and have a discussion with us behind the scenes on perhaps going in the other direction and think about legalizing it, because this thing's never going to work. Whether the president will agree to that is unclear. Of course, so many leaders of our country and a lot of South American countries, as soon as they step out of office, go, oh, war on drugs is ridiculous. Former presidents of Colombia, Mexico, Brazil, former U.S. Secretary of State for us, George Shultz, he was Reagan's Secretary of State, former head of the Fed, Paul Volcker, all these people saying the war on drugs isn't working, is never going to work, we should consider legalizing. In fact, one last thing on this that's very important. There was a subcommittee report in the Senate, and Senator McCaskill from Missouri talked about it, and she said that it has been very inefficient and that our efforts to use contractors have largely failed. But note what she just said, our efforts to use contractors. And a lot of the war on drugs has now become about this, because private contractors get huge contracts from the United States government, and now they are pressuring the South American governments to also give them contracts because of the lessons they've learned to fight the war on drugs. Now those guys are making millions and billions off of this. So now they have a financial incentive, and they are very powerful because they've got enormous connections to the Defense Department, the Pentagon, the defense contractors, and those guys totally run our politics in Washington. So they're putting all the pressure on the politicians to keep the war on drugs going forever, because that's the gravy train for them. They get rich, the drug lords get rich, we all get killed. That's the war on drugs.